Forget about the pleasure domes on the Pillar Planet. We have a mission to attend to. Buckle up. We're going down. A dead trooper. Hey, that trooper's gun over there could come in handy. I guess I don't have to tell you those bugs are deadly.
Hey everyone, it's nice to be back making videos again. I just returned to college after, taking like a really long hiatus, like years worth of them, and totally underestimated how hard it would be to juggle that, a full-time job, a family, and really on top of it, YouTube. So after all these months, I finally put my big boy pants on and tackled my channel once more. And I really did miss making these videos, and to kick things off, I want to talk about a new VR title. With Hubris VR being hyped for over a year, it's finally released on December 7th. Touted as one of the most beautiful upcoming VR games, developed and produced by Cyborg BV, it's been met with mixed reactions on opening day. Now the real question comes to mind, is it really worth its rather hefty price of $39.99 USD? I only gave it like about 2 hours before I made this review, and comparing the alpha versus now, I found the two weren't too far off from each other, or at least so I thought. So before I start with the cons, I always like to look at the good side first. So to outline this review video, I'll be talking about its graphics, sound design, dialogue, gameplay, control, settings, and even bugs. In the end, this is my personal experience and opinion, so whatever I recommend, just remember that it is not the same for everyone. From what it looks like, Hubris VR is an action-adventure title filled with combat, a full-fledged story littered with puzzles. Now I don't know the full extent of the game yet, but I will be making a full playthrough here on my channel. Now Hubris VR definitely hit the nail in the graphics department, and I can see why the community was awestruck when it first came out. Now everything from models to environment has a good amount of details in it, and it feels like a work from scratch rather than an asset flip in Unity. One part that amazed me right away was during the scene where you wake up in the pod and you're able to peer out the simulated window. They didn't simply just make just to make it show a normal feed from the outside, so when you move your head around the window, it feels like you're actually looking outside a window. Now paired with its fidelity of the game is its decent sound design. It all feels normal within the sci-fi tropes, the low hum of the ship, the techie beeps here and there. Weapons and tools sounds just fine, and so do the critters I found. So I have no complaints there. Now the gameplay is pretty good as far as I can tell. You're in space, your ship crashes, you survive and go out and investigate. Controls run well and gunplay is pretty standard. Even the guns feels fine, but the reloading and no cost shooting kinda takes away from the intensity. Inventory control is easy enough with the game letting you store items on either shoulders, and the healing items pop up when you pull from your right. There's also a decent upgrading mechanic via a 3D printer, loaded with items you find all over the place. But there's one thing I can say about it is, when you're dumping a bunch of items, you constantly have to open the inventory since it closes when you take an item out. So I really hope the devs fix that. Now there are two things I can truly admire in their mechanics. First one is the vaulting. It's actually quite impressive. Yes, it seems like it's just a standard vaulting, but it's a bit more responsive than other titles, making the obstacles a whole lot more immersive and easier. And the other one would be swimming. I have yet to play a lot of swimming VR games, but the controls on this one make so much sense that it immediately just clicked. The choices and settings seem pretty standard looking at it. I mean, you have your vignette, your turning choices, and some graphic settings, but something that really does surprise me is from a game like this, there's a way for you to calibrate your weapons. I mean, calibrating your height, your arms, and all that is one thing, but making sure that your weapon aims the way you want it, that's actually pretty cool. Now, I've been praising this game pretty much the whole time, right? But let's talk about the ugly. Now, I encountered maybe like a few pretty huge bugs. First off, the problem with virtual desktop, which the devs have rectified in their Discord. I mean, the issue was when you reach a certain point on the opening scene, it requires you to press the menu button. Now, if you're familiar with using virtual desktop, the Quest 2's left menu button is used for the either virtual desktop or Steam's own menu interface. I'm not sure if this is a bug or like a feature, but if my player model ends up going through the boundaries or some models like a rock or a boulder, I instantly die. I mean, I just don't bounce out or respawn somewhere else. I start from my last saving point. And this other bug, I thought it was just pretty fun. It wasn't game breaking or it didn't really take away from the gameplay too much. When the engineer that I met down here took off his face mask, the head model just popped off and rendered elsewhere. It just reminded me on the bugs that happened during Assassin's Creed Unity when it first came out. Finally, let's compare everything to its price of $39.99 USD. Overall presentation of the game is great with better than usual fidelity compared to other titles in VR, and sound design was decent, and the dialogue was pretty fleshed out as well. The gunplay and controls weren't disappointing, and bugs are to be expected with modern games knowing how complex they've grown in decades, and to add all that in VR. Now personally, I think the price is very steep for the contents the game has. It feels reminiscent to the Star Wars Tales from Galaxy's Edge, but at least their price could be justified because it's Star Wars. Other than that, it's not much of a game if it was not in VR, so I would say $29.99 would be a fair price. Now, despite all that, I still think it's a pretty decent game. I mean, I've already put 2 hours in, so I can't really refund it anymore. I'm already like too deep. But whatever, you know, like I said, this is just my opinion, so tell me what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more virtual reality review videos, and Merry Christmas everybody, and I'll see you guys again next week. Alright, bye bye.